Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we are going to be talking about this beast over here, the LUMIX GH5, which I think it's underrated. The DMC LUMIX GH5 is a very powerful camera that is often underrated. Many of the criticism leveled against this camera is based on really shallow grounds and a lack of camera understanding, in my opinion. And even though there isn't anything like the best camera, if I had to choose only one camera that I can use for my videography work in everything, I would choose the LUMIX GH5. So before I go over some useless complaints that most videographers have had over this camera, let me tell you why I love this camera in the first place. Why you should actually really consider to get it. Number one is most DSLR cameras are photo-first cameras, meaning they do well in photography, but have some features of videography. While the LUMIX GH5 here is a videography-first camera with some features for photography. So I'm only talking about videographers in today's video. So they have put many professional videography features like the histogram, waveform, focus peaking, zebra lines, zoom to focus, and many others inside the camera. You don't have to get an external monitor. It also has high specs, featuring a 20.3 megapixel micro four third sensor, shooting unlimited video 4K at 60 frames per second and 180 frames per second in full HD. Plus it can shoot up to 6K in anamorphic mode. Overall, the picture quality is really high and sharp. I have shot a lot of projects on this camera and it has never disappointed me. In fact, some of the videos that I have shot on this camera have won awards from time to time, competing with videos that were shot using Red Cinema cameras. It really has good quality. In my next video, I'll be comparing this camera to my Red Scarlet, which I'm filming this video on, and just to show you how good is the quality of this camera. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't, so that you don't miss when that video comes out. It will be the Red versus the LUMIX GH5. All right, continuing, it shoots, one thing that I love about this camera, it also shoots in 10-bit 422 internally, which is good for color grading. You can also install LUTs inside the camera, as well as even install a flat picture style, which I use mostly, the Vlog L. The GH5 also features 2 high-speed SD card slots, allowing for extended recording times and backup storage. And the real reason why I chose the LUMIX GH5 is because of my style of videography, which is movement. And up to date, I don't think there is any other camera on the market available which has the best in-body image stabilization like the one in the LUMIX GH5, such that in most cases, you will not even need a gimbal to create smooth video. Just holding the camera in your hand, you can actually really create smooth footage. The other reason why I love the LUMIX GH5 is its build quality. It has a weather-sealed body made of a rugged magnesium alloy body, which is splash, dust, and freeze-proof, making it suitable to use in challenging environments. It's built like a tank, even though it has got a small sensor inside. As if that is not enough, the GH5 also has a bigger size HDMI output, something that is not common in most DSLR cameras like this. It can send a clean video feed to an external monitor, and for this reason, I also use it to do my professional live streaming gigs. This camera is just a blessing for me. The battery life too, as well, is not that bad. You can shoot up to 2.5 hours on a single charge, on a single battery. So with just 3 batteries, you can actually really shoot the whole day. In fact, I've always really just used 2 batteries for most of my videography work. So the battery life for this camera is really good. The GH5 also has a 3.2-inch touchscreen display that can swivel and tilt, making it easy to compose shots from a variety of angles. This camera also offers a high level of customization. It has a lot of function and custom buttons around the body. The other big reason why I bought the LUMIX GH5 is its sensor size. It is a micro four third sensor, which is a deal breaker for many videographers. But because the sensor is small, I can literally attach almost every lens to this camera with an adapter. So for a person like me who consider lenses to be more important than the camera body itself, I think it is really a good idea to choose a camera that I know I'm going to use a variety of lenses without limitation. You can put a full frame, a Super 35, an APS-C sensor, or even a medium format sensor lenses to the LUMIX GH5 without any problem. But you cannot put, for example, an APS-C sensor on a full frame sensor, it will cause a vignette which is not really desirable. And the last thing that I would like to mention for this camera is the price. I was looking for a camera with these specs, especially shooting 4K at 60 frames per second and 10-bit in 4K, but those cameras were very expensive. Now you can even find this camera for less than $1,000, which is really a very good deal for videography work. Now let me go through some of the disadvantages why the Lumix GH5 is highly criticized by many videographers and how you can fix some of these challenges. Most of which are not really necessarily challenges, but as a result of, I think, laziness and also lack of videography knowledge. So the first disadvantage is its sensor size. It is a micro four thirds sensor, which means it has a crop factor of ×2. So if you put a 50mm lens, it becomes 100mm. So the viewing angle becomes really narrow compared to full frame cameras. Honestly, this is not a problem or a disadvantage. You just need to understand focal ranges. So if you wanted to shoot at 50mm range, instead of putting a 50mm on this lens, on this camera, just put a 25mm. It will be equivalent to 50mm on a full frame camera. The other disadvantage, perhaps the biggest one, which most videographers complain about this camera, is the low light performance and lack of shallow depth of field. For the low light performance, maybe I would say it is slightly valid complaint, especially for people who shoot wedding videographies and events videographies at night or in lower conditions, and mostly beginners. Though I have done a lot of events videos at night and a lot of wedding videos on this camera, the Lumix GH5, this has never been a challenge because you can simply use faster lenses like f1.2, f1.4, or f2.8. So my favorite lenses, or the lenses that I normally use on this camera, is the Lumix lens 42.5mm f1.2. You get a really nice shallow depth of field and the lens is very fast. The other lens that I use on this camera a lot is the Sigma 18 to 35mm f1.8. Combined with this Vetrox speed booster, the lens actually goes to 1.2, which is really still okay for wedding videography and in low light conditions. And even the bokeh, or the shallow depth of field, is really shallow as well. The other thing is, in order for a video to come out nicely, you just really need to invest in good lighting. Whether it is a full frame camera or even the biggest sensor size like the medium format sensors, they all really just need good lighting. You have no idea how much lighting is always used, even on a really high-end cinema cameras in Hollywood shooting movies. So consider also investing in some lighting. If you're really gonna get this camera, it will solve out that problem of low light condition. I have been using red cinema cameras as well for some time. As expensive and industry standard as these cameras are, they are also lighting hungry. I have one which I'm recording this video right now, the Mysterium X sensor. They are all lighting hungry, you know, so you just really need to invest in good lighting. As for the shallow depth of field, for me, I think this is even also overrated. It is not all the time that you really need that shallow depth of field. Imagine you have a nice set, a beautiful set, then you blur everything. Even in Hollywood movies, it is not all the time that you really see this deep, this shallow depth of field. You know, you have to use shallow depth of field creatively. But if that is your style, it is not really a deal breaker on the Lumix GH5, because just with a low light condition, if you really want like to get the shallow depth of field, just really get faster lenses that I have mentioned, like f1.2, f1.4, 2.8, and so on. I have shot a lot of videos. I have shot a lot of events with really good shallow depth of field. And I don't think I would really need any shallow depth of field more than what you can see on these videos that I have been filming. So shallow depth of field is not really something that you should worry about. Just really understand lenses and also understand the faster lenses. The other thing is its poor autofocus capabilities. Honestly, as a filmmaker, relying on autofocus is just really a sign of being an amateur. The Red Scarlet that I'm using to film this video right now, it doesn't really even have autofocus capabilities. So you'll need to learn how to focus manually in some way. In fact, most of the best lenses, most of the best video lenses don't even really like have autofocus features, you know? So learning how to manually focus your videos is really very important. For me, even if I was using the best autofocus camera system in the world, like the Sony A1, the Canon R5, 95% of the time, I'll still be doing my focus manually. And if you want to learn how to do that, I have gone over 10 ways that you can pull focus manually in my DSLR cinematic filmmaking course. I have also gone into details of how a camera works, the most important settings that you should use on your camera, the best camera angles, the best camera movements. I have gone into basic lighting, how to record clean sound. I have gone through how to do great compositions and stuff like that. You can get that course at my website, ufc.unifyinventive.net. Otherwise, I'll see you in my next video where I'm going to be comparing the Lumix GH5 to my Red Scarlet cinema camera. This is it for now. I hope you make a decision over the things that I have spoken about. I'll see you in the next video. This is it once again. Peace.